Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jesse, and today we're talking about weird bookish things. I love talking about weird bookish things, so I'm super excited about today's video. This video is actually a book tag that was created by Sean D. Standfast. I will leave a link down below in the description to his channel and his original video. Go and check him out, go show him some love. We're gonna be talking about weird bookshop encounters, weird book buying habits, all the weird things. Without further ado, let's get started. Where was the oddest place you purchased a book from, and was it a keeper? The oddest place I've ever bought a book. Odd places where I've bought a book. There's gotta be a strange place I've bought a book. Come on, memory. Come on, do your thing. Tell me the strangest place I've bought a book. I don't think that this is that odd, but I will say that like my dollar store, the Dollar Tree, they used to have like a bangin' book selection. I haven't been to the Dollar Tree in a minute, but they used to just have so many fantastic books, and it always shocked me every time I went into a Dollar Tree and found their book selection because they just had so many like fantastic titles. I can't remember any of the titles off the top of my head, but I know that they had like a Jesmond Ward book. They've had my King Jason Reynolds before. I know that they had some like top-notch thrillers. I know they had some fantastic YA books, and it just like always shocked me every time I walked in there because I just like was not expecting them to have like such a fantastic book selection. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but like a few years back, I'm gonna say like 2019, that's not even a few years back at this point. That's like so long ago now. Ew, I don't like that. But back in 2019, they used to have like a pretty solid book selection, but I haven't been to one in a second, so I'm not sure what it looks like now. Where else? There's gotta be an even more odd place. Like, I know that I've bought books in like the most random of places. I guess antique store is kind of random, but like not that random. I feel like you can often go into an antique store and just find such obscure and random books, which is super cool. Sometimes it can be nice to pick up a book that you've never heard of before and that nobody is ever going to be able to talk about because it's out of print, or it's just like so old and obscure that like nobody has probably ever heard of it. There's something really special about doing that. I feel like I've often gone to antique stores to find like Nancy Drew books or Hardy Boys books. This is my current Hardy Boys collection. This one is more new, but these don't even have like the original artwork on them or anything, and they're definitely like very loved books. There's like stains on them. The pages themselves look very, very old. There's just something so charming about them. I love them. I want to collect all of them, honestly, at some point. Some point down the line, I would like to pick up all of these books, but I also like really want to just like read them. It's been a second since I've read a Hardy Boys book. I'm talking childhood, man. I used to eat these books up. And then I've got these Nancy Drew editions that I've found in antique stores, and again, these are well-loved books. Like, there's stains on them. The pages do be looking a little bit grimy, but at the same time, there's something so charming about them. I never got around to reading Nancy Drew books as a kid, but I still would like to explore this series. So many books, so little time, the struggle of my life. You know what? I will say there is one random place that comes to mind. I was in Arkansas with some friends, and we visited this like art shop, which I don't feel like it's that weird to have books in an art shop, but this one in particular, like, it was like fancy art. It was an art shop where I was like being very cautious and being very careful as I walked through it because I was afraid if I accidentally like knocked over anything that I would be, you know, coughing up $10,000, and I don't got $10,000 to cough up. But I found this like very obscure romance book. I've been really enjoying reading these like very unhinged romance books lately, as you guys know, and I felt like this one just like needed to be added to my collection. I have not read it yet, but it's super short. It almost is like just a little pamphlet. It's a total of 25 pages, and my friend actually read it, and she was like dying laughing the whole time reading it, so I'm very much so looking forward to getting to this one at some point. The title itself, amazing, iconic. I have to read it. Have you ever read a book in public that had a strange title that can be interpreted in a different way and got strange looks? Honestly, no, but that's because I will do anything to avoid any kind of like uncomfortable human interaction. Like, I don't do well with that kind of stuff. Like, if it's going to open up a conversation with somebody that might be a little bit uncomfortable, that might be a little bit awkward, I will avoid it because I'm the type of person where like after that interaction, after some kind of like awkward human interaction or something that just like makes me uncomfortable, I will play that scenario over and over and over in my head until the day that I die. Like, there are so many interactions that I've had that will just like come to me as I'm laying down to go to bed at night, and it's not fun to play those interactions over and over and over again in my head. It keeps me up at night, it makes me lose sleep, and I don't want to think about these uncomfortable things. So if I can avoid any kind of like uncomfortable situation in real life, I'm gonna do it. And if that means not reading a book in public that has a weird title, I will in fact keep those books in my house, and I will only read them in my house. But some books that I've read that I would never read in public, I'll share that list with you. First up, we've got How to Kill Your Family. I read this book last year, and you would never catch me reading a book like this in public because of the the title alone, because I feel like this is one that would get strange looks. Like, it almost looks like it's a guidebook or something, and it is not in fact a guidebook, it's a fiction book, but like, I would never read it in public. And again, I've been reading a lot of unhinged romance books lately, and you would not catch me dead or alive reading these books in public. I mean, obviously, if I was dead, I wouldn't be able to read the books in public anyway, but you get what I'm saying. Even if the title itself does not allude to what this book is, if somebody were to Google the title and find out that I was reading a door romance, I don't want that, even though I'm getting on the Lord's internet and sharing the fact that I'm reading these books. At least y'all know my intent when I read these books. Like, you guys know that I just love a silly time. The people that will see me reading books like this in public will Google it and be like, he's into some strange things. What strange and wonderful things have you found in a new or used book? I don't know if anybody was ever a part of the Nerdfighter community, but it was a community created by John and Hank Green, and the people a part of that community used to do this thing where they would write letters and put them in different books. Typically they would be John Green books, obviously, because he was a part of the community. He was one of the creators of the community, and so people would write letters and put them in books. And this was like back in high school, but I was so desperate to find a Nerdfighter letter. Like, it felt like if you found a Nerdfighter letter, you were like initiated into a secret club. Like, it just felt so cool. I don't even remember what the letters used to be. Like, I feel like it just used to be like, we're Nerdfighters, we're so cool, slay nerds, nerds, nerd power. Truth be told, I do not remember what these letters entailed, but I remember finding my first one and just feeling so cool. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been initiated into the secret club, into Nerdfighteria. It's official. I am officially a Nerdfighter. And honestly, I feel like we should bring that back in some kind of way. We should like revamp that concept. Maybe write like a glowing letter of recommendation about a book and like just tuck it into a book at Barnes & Noble or something. Or even just like a bookmark project where we all make custom bookmarks and like place them inside of books or something. I don't know. Somebody else should take hold of that project and make it a thing. I'm not good at leading projects like that, but I just think there's something so magical about finding stuff like that in books. Now, I will say, something that I did find in a book recently was a little bit disturbing, and that was like a full-on booger. Thankfully, it was a library book and not a book that I bought, but I was just a little bit disturbed to find a full-on chunk of a booger within my book. I did keep reading the book, but I got nervous every time I flipped the page. I was just expecting a full-on booger to jump out at me. Thankfully, no more boogers were found. Is smelling a book weird to you or a normal part of the book buying and book reading process? Honestly, to me, it's normal, but I realized after reading this question and like thinking about it, I've never seen another person out in public like sniffing books, which makes me wonder, is book sniffing like an underground thing? Am I a part of a book sniffing secret society and I didn't even realize it? Let me know in the comments down below if you've ever seen somebody out in public sniffing a book. Do you have any odd or weird book buying, book collecting, or book reading habits? I don't think that this is that odd, but I feel like when I do go to purchase a book, I will make sure that I'm getting like the prettiest, nicest edition of the book, just because like, I love a pretty book and I want the prettiest book possible. The other thing that came to mind though is when I'm out looking at books, I will often like immediately look at the page count, just because like I like to know what I'm getting myself into, what the commitment's gonna be like, how long it might take me to finish the book. Like, I like knowing what the challenge ahead of me is going to be. Sometimes it does push me away from reading a book, and sometimes it will push me towards reading a book. It really depends on like how I'm feeling in that moment. If I feel like I can read 1,000+ pages, it won't matter in that moment what the page count is. But there are the times when I'm like book shopping, when I'm like, I'm just not in the mood for like a huge big commitment right now, so the page count will in fact matter. What is the oddest comment you've received after telling somebody that you're a reader or book collector? I don't think that I have that many odd interactions with people after I tell them that I'm a reader, but I will say that there is one comment that I get very often that kind of feels like insulting a little bit, and that's just when people are like, I don't have time for reading. I wish I had time for reading. I'm just so busy, I could never be a reader. That just always feels a little insulting to me, and I don't feel like people mean it to be insulting, but it comes off insulting, as if I myself have all the time in the world to read books. Like, no, I'm also busy. I also have things going on. I just make time for it. I prioritize it. A lot of us readers don't necessarily have the time for it either, but we make time for it. We enjoy it enough to make it a priority. Describe a strange encounter that you've had at a bookshop. There's too many. What should I even share? I've come across somebody at Barnes Barnes & Noble like lying down in the middle of an aisle. I had a barista at a bookshop basically give a full-on performance. Like she was just like singing along to the overhead music, and it was fine. I love that she was like living her best life, but like she was like giving a full-on performance while she was making my coffee. And it was like 9 a.m., which is too early for a performance like that. I hadn't had my coffee yet. I was waiting for her to give me my coffee. I did witness a bookstore robbery at one point. This was like way back in the day. Like I had just gotten my license. I went to Barnes & Noble. I started hearing a worker scream and somebody like ran out the doors, and then the cops came. It was a whole ordeal. Those are all the things that are coming to mind right now, but I know that I've had many weird bookshop encounters. Is it odd to pass a bookshop when you're out and about and not enter? Yes, and if you do this, you have better self-control than me. Even me being on a book buying ban, I will still stop by a bookshop if it's like near where I'm going while I'm out running errands. I just love books. I love being around books. Even if I'm not going to buy a book, I want to be around books. Are you drawn to odd and dingy, out-of-the-way bookshops, or do you prefer a tidy bookstore? I have no preference. If it has books, I will enter. Books can come in odd shapes and sizes. What is the oddest shaped book you've come across? I think one of the more interesting book shapes that I've seen is this book that was like shaped like a basketball. I'm pretty sure it was just like a book all about basketball or something. I only ever came across it once, so I don't know if it's like still in print or not, but I still thought it was like really, really cool and really inventive. Would love to see more books in odd shapes and sizes. What I really want is somebody to publish a book in the shape of a ghost. I just think that would be so cute. Publishers, get on it. You can take my idea and run with it. Give me the ghost book of my dreams. That is it for this book tag. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. I want to know your weird book things. Do you have a weird book collection? Do you have a weird book buying habit? Do you have a weird reading habit? Let me know down below in the comments, and I might actually make a video where I react to your weird bookish things. So drop me a comment and let me know all your weird things. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon, and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye. My knees popped. Pop, lock, and drop it.